Tonight on Sports Extra, state championship weekend in high school football. Beale City and Traverse City Central were down at Ford Field to compete for state titles. Plus, we get you ready for a big weekend of college football rivalries. Not just the Michigan-Ohio State game, but Ferris State will also renew the rivalry with GVSU in the playoffs. And highlights from Michigan State basketball playing in the battle for Atlanta's championship against Baylor. Beale City was back in the Division VIII state championship for a second time in 3 years. After topping Upley 12-7 in the state semis, the Aggies found themselves in another defensive slugfest today against Hudson. Beale City strikes first in this one, under a minute left in the first quarter. Aggies go to the air. Hunter Miles rolls out of the pocket, buys as much time as he can, and finds Carter Fussman deep for the 53-yard touchdown. Aggies up 7-0. Hudson responds in the second quarter. From 6 yards out, Nick Copen met at the goal line, but he's in for the touchdown. Hudson would go for two, and they get it to take an 8-7 lead. They held that 1-point advantage at halftime. In the fourth, Tigers threatening again, and Copen gets into the end zone again. 2-point conversion was no good, so the Aggies just down 7. They need this fourth down conversion to stay alive, but the pass falls incomplete. Beale City falls 14-7. Matthew Doyle has more from the Aggies.
Tyler, Beale City made an appearance in the state championship for the second time in 3 years, and against Hudson, it was a defensive battle that we were expecting, but the Aggies came up on the losing end of this matchup 14-7. And while it was exciting to get back down here to Ford Field again, it was not easy to swallow this loss for the Aggies.
I'm super proud of these guys. They worked their tails off, but in the end, I think when your goals are set high, that's why it doesn't make it any better last time or this time. Still lost. That probably makes it worse this time.
We did everything we could. Can't ask for any more than that. Our defense came in huge a couple times, but offense didn't really come through.
And while it was a tough loss, the Beale City seniors said after the game that it was great to get back down here to Ford Field to set that legacy of making it to the state championship again for that Beale City football program. In Ford Field, Matthew Doyle, 9 and 10 News.
Thanks, Matt. Traverse City Central is in the Division II state championship this afternoon. It's the first time the Trojans have made it to Ford Field since 1988, the last time they won a state title. Waiting for them was De La Salle, one of the powerhouses of Michigan high school football over the last 15 years. And De La Salle got rolling right away in this one on their first drive. They get all the way to the 1-yard line. Rhett Rozier punches it in, 7-0 Pilots. Later on, it's now 14-0 Pilots. Quarterback Brady Drogosh keeps it himself and takes this one 45 yards to the house to make it 21-zip De La Salle. Near the end of the half, it's 28-0. Drogosh, patient, and then finds Alton McCollum, and McCollum finds the end zone. The Pilots held a 34-0 lead at halftime. Trojans offense couldn't find the end zone until the fourth quarter. Josh Burnham punches it in to cap off his great Trojan career. Josh Klug also scored a late touchdown. TC Central loses 41-14. Matthew Doyle joins us again with more from Ford Field.
Well, for a third straight year, we had two local teams make it down to Ford Field, and for a third straight year, both teams finished as the state runners-up. Traverse City Central faced a talented De La Salle team who has been here multiple times in recent years, and it showed in their 34-0 halftime lead. A difficult way to end a great season, but what a run by the Trojans, making it to the state championship for the first time since 1988.
We knew after that Dubuque game, we were going to make a run. We all buckled down. Our goal was state championship. We made it here, just couldn't finish it. I'm just so proud of them.
These guys mean a lot to me, our staff, and our program, and our Traverse City community. Obviously, we didn't play our best game tonight. I really believe we had a best game in us still, and we didn't play it tonight, and that's credit to De La Salle.
The Trojans graduate a great senior class led by Notre Dame commit Josh Burnham, but the future looks very bright for this program. In Detroit, Matthew Doyle, 9 and 10 News.
Central Michigan completed the Michigan MAC sweep this afternoon, defeating Eastern Michigan 31-10. Another big day for running back Lou Nichols. He finished with 194 yards rushing and a touchdown. With the win, the Chippewas finished the regular season 8-4 and wait to hear which bowl game they'll be headed to. They will enter that bowl game on a 4-game winning streak. A tough early season test for Michigan State basketball as the Spartans took on Baylor this afternoon. Highlights coming up on Sports Extra. Ferris State is back in the Division II football playoffs after making it to the semifinals in 2019. As the #1 team in the country, the Bulldogs are looking to make a run to a national championship appearance like they did in 2018. After a first-round bye last week, they meet a tough opponent tomorrow. It's a rematch of the rivalry game with GVSU. The Bulldogs won by a touchdown in the regular season. This time, the Bulldogs are at home. Head coach Tony Anise says they know the challenge that awaits.
They're a very good team. I'm very impressed by actually the way they played us the last time, and so we're not going to focus on this is the second time. It's hard to beat somebody a second time. It's hard to beat a team the first time, and we're locked in on beating them the first time again.
We'll start at 1 p.m. tomorrow, and we'll have the highlights on 9 and 10 News. Elsewhere in college football tomorrow, have you heard there's a big game in Ann Arbor? All sorts of implications on the line in one of the biggest rivalries in all of sports as Michigan hosts Ohio State. Michigan State with a big game as well against Penn State, but reports tonight are that a flu bug is going around the Spartan team. They may be without up to 20 players tomorrow afternoon. Michigan State basketball taking on number 6 Baylor in the battle for Atlanta's championship. First half, Gabe Brown drives and finishes through contact for the Spartans' first bucket of the game. Later, Spartans up 3, but Baylor ties it up with a 3 from the wing, Jeremy Sohan knocking it down for the Bears. The Spartans hanging right with one of the nation's top teams in the first half. Brown's 3 is off, but what a follow-up from Jaden Akins. Baylor would pull away in the second half, however. Adam Flagler driving and finishing off glass there. Baylor wins 75-58. Pistons taking on the Clippers. Third quarter, it's former Piston Reggie Jackson knocking down the triple for LA. Pistons down 26 at that point. Then in the fourth quarter, Frank Jackson's going to drive, but then he turns it over. Clippers turn to go up court, but Luke Kennard's pass is picked off by Hamidou Diallo. He comes right in and finishes. Pistons made it more respectable late, but still lose 107-96. That's it for us tonight. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for highlights from the big games across college football. Ferris State against Grand Valley, Michigan, Ohio State, and Michigan State against Penn State. Thanks for watching Sports Extra. Late Show with Stephen Colbert is next. Have a great night.